Welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode. And today our guest is Ben Perez, the owner of Profectus Athletics just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. This is a badass bodybuilding gym I got to go to just a couple weeks ago. I'm really excited to talk to Ben about it. But before we get started, let me take a pause and I'll show you all the photos I took when I was at the gym. All right, Ben, before we get talking about the gym, and it's a pretty badass gym, so I'm excited to talk to you about it. What was your path like? How did you become a gym owner?
Very windy. So I'm originally from Waco, Texas. My wife and I, well, my current wife, but at the time she was just my girlfriend, we moved to Dallas together to work in a training studio. It didn't work out for us there. So we ended up moving to Sherwood, which is just outside of Little Rock. And her aunt allowed us to stay with her for a year. And I didn't really want to work for LA Fitness, or there's 10 Fitness that's popular around here. So I started training people on my own out of the North Little Rock Community Center. And one day I was just driving around through town and I saw this little studio in the corner that was for lease. And the thought popped into my mind that I wanted to have a small training studio. And so I told Layla that I wanted to rent it out and start bringing my clients there. And so that's kind of how it started. We took some money that she had and put it toward a bunch of equipment and started training people out of a 600 square foot studio. And we were there for a year. Then we moved into like a space that was double the size. We were there for about a year and a few months. And then after that one, we moved into the current space that you got to visit. And we've been there since 2020. So we moved right in the middle of, I think COVID hit, and like the next day we were moving equipment into the gym. So,
oh, wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So all the stuff that we had in there originally, we had purchased in bulk. We obviously didn't have the space for it, but we knew that one day we would. So we kept it in storage for 2-3 years until we were able to use it. And that's kind of how all that got started. It was a very hand of God, not so much my doing or her doing. We've always worked hard, but I know that all the circumstances and the breaks that we've gotten were definitely God's. It's not anything we did, so.
Well, it's interesting you say that you bought it in bulk, because when you walk into the gym, there's not anything. You wouldn't look around that gym and go, okay, they probably bought all these pieces at the same time. Like, It looks like every piece in the gym was selected to be in the gym because of its uniqueness. Like, how, now that you have this size gym, and what size is the gym now?
I think it's 7,000 square feet.
Okay, and you're outgrowing that one pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's good. I think the problem is we pack too much stuff in there because there's so much good stuff to buy and to use. But I'd say we could use some more space.
So how do you guys, like, with so much unique equipment, like, how do you guys decide, like, this is a piece that's going on the floor?
I don't even know that it's a decision or a discussion. I think we just put it in there. Well, to start, man, even how we started acquiring all of that is a long story. But long story short, another gym close to town filed for bankruptcy, and they had all that cool equipment. And so basically, the bank that was in charge of that lot and all the other stuff that was next door was looking for someone to help sell the equipment. And originally they wanted us to buy it all. And I can't take credit for any of this because Layla, my wife, was the one that kind of pushed for us to do it. She's just an incredible, like a business mind. Like, she sees an opportunity and she just has like this awesome way of grasping it and taking hold of it and making it something really good. And so she was the one that kind of got us into it. And she struck a deal with the bank where, we would sell X amount of equipment that they had in stock, and they would give us all this other stuff. So like the swing squat that's in there, that lateral raise, the Cybex kneeling lateral raise, the cable station, all that stuff was in that gym. And so through that deal, we were kind of able to put that in there. So it started originally with, I think, 15, 16, 17 things that we had picked out and worked for. And then after that, she kind of became pretty big time buying equipment and selling equipment. And she basically can get anything she wants. So.
Yeah, I had actually heard from a few different people that Layla's quite the wheeler and dealer in the equipment industry now. So
she is incredible.
Yeah, and it's funny you brought up the swing squat, because I had actually used that swing squat in its original location. My first trip to DMV Iron, like probably 3 or 4 years ago, I have a video somewhere of me using that swing squat there, and then I have a video of me using that exact swing squat at your place. So that was kind of cool. So you guys have pieces that were probably all over the country at one point in time.
Yeah, overseas. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's all over the place. Yeah.
Now, Layla's either currently or has been a competitor. Were you a competitor?
No. I can't do it. I'll get to a certain point with my diet and nutrition, and then I'm like, I need a cheeseburger, and then I'll fall off for like a month or two. Oh, this is like we were talking about before we hopped on. This is my second day back in a row for like the 4th week in a row that I've worked out for 2 days, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'm not so. I think originally I thought I was in love with fitness itself. I think I just like seeing the improvement until a certain point, obviously, and then it just, I kind of don't really love it for a time, and then I like it again, and we're good. So kind of comes in cycles and waves.
No, I can get that. But you guys definitely went out to create a bodybuilding gym, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So that atmosphere, and this is what's funny about this whole thing. All the people that come to us are actually probably the main breadwinner, moneymaker of our gym is personal training. So we have, I believe, 8 personal trainers on staff. We probably have 120, 150 personal training clients, and maybe double that of members. And so all these little middle-aged women and the older women that walk in and they see all this equipment, it's a little intimidating. I think it says a lot about who we are as a gym and owners and staff members and trainers, because they might feel intimidated, but they all end up becoming comfortable to work out in what looks like a bodybuilding gym. So it obviously didn't start that way. That 600 square foot studio was bands, dumbbells, benches, plates, and a couple machines. I think that Cybex squat press was the original, like one of the OG machines that we owned in that studio.
Nice.
And, that whole atmosphere of people wanting to feel comfortable, people wanting to feel like they belonged has kind of transferred along with our progress and our growth. But we've also gained a lot of people that are extremely serious about bodybuilding, about training, about working out. And it's an awesome mix. It's weird. You walk in and you see Justin Abbott. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a pro over there grunting and bleeding and throwing weights everywhere. And then you've got this little 74-year-old lady, hitting the hack squat with no weight on it. And it's pretty cool to see. And it just, like I said, it just goes to show kind of what we've built and been able to do. It's pretty
Well, that's
cool.
one of the things I love about gyms like yours and other gyms like that in the country is that there is no judgment. Like, I know that big box gyms want to create this stereotype that doesn't exist, that hardcore gyms is where all the judgment is. And it's exactly the opposite. Like, hardcore gyms is where the most help is and the most inviting and the most friendly people that are going to be there to support you. So, all those people who are fresh to working out, this is where you need to go. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of like-minded people. Because, I mean, that bodybuilder that is that big or that strong or whatever probably started with some sort of body image issue or insecurity, and they started working out. And that's something that they fell in love with and obviously took it to the extreme. But that's the same reason that Sherry from, 2 blocks down is coming in. It's, I don't feel good about myself. I want to be more healthy. I want to, look better for my husband, things like that, that bring people in. And it's like, we're all on different levels, right? But at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all have things that we don't like about ourselves or don't care about or don't care for about ourselves. But that's like the physical aspect, even the emotional and spiritual and all that is something that you can improve. But you come to the gym to do that. And that's where a lot of these people may not connect it, but that's how we try to portray it to them when they walk in. It's that we're all the same, you know what I mean, in different ways, but we're the same.
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. I mean, Nickel Walker didn't wake up one day and just be like 275 pounds. I mean, the man put in a ton of work, and guys like that understand the kind of work that it takes to get success and to get improvement. And usually anytime I've met any of those guys, they're super helpful and super polite and super encouraging, and they love seeing everybody working hard. So
Absolutely.
like, yeah, so that's awesome. Now, as far as the equipment goes, like, you guys have a lot, and it was super cool. Are there any pieces in the gym that you're like, this is my piece, or these are my pieces, or like?
Man, you know, it's funny because I've thought about this before, and now I can't give you an answer. But yeah, I know. I think a few of my favorites. One is we have Paramount T-bar row, the one that's over by the free weights. Man, it looks like, I mean, you go in and you look at it, it's like, it kind of looks kind of scrappy, you know, but it's like one of the best back pieces I've used. I love it.
Well, Paramount's such a good brand.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Like I said, it looks like you walk in and you're like, why is this, you know, it doesn't really fit in a way. And it's awesome. It's great and feels great. But yeah, I mean, that one, I don't know if was the Prime leg extension in when you were there. Okay. We just brought that in maybe a month ago. That one is freaking awesome, man. It's good. Yeah. Probably those
leg extension's sick.
It's crazy how smooth it is and how you feel everything the way you're supposed to. But yeah, I'd say those two above everything else. I really wanted that Cybex lateral raise. That piece is kind of emotional. It's funny. In a gym from my hometown, I'm from Waco, Texas. There's a regional tennis center, and they have Cybex kit, and it's like nothing but Cybex, and in that kit, it's this kneeling lateral raise. So I grew up using that thing. And so when I saw that gym had it and they were going right and we were able to acquire it, that was like, I don't care what we get, we're working for that one because that's what I want. And so I ended up getting it. So that probably would be, I wouldn't say number one because it's not my favorite piece, but it is like the emotional favorite. It's a little bit different.
No, that's super cool. Yeah. So, and we talked about a little bit at the beginning, like the kind of the growth of the gym. You guys are on your third space now.
Yes, sir.
So what's the future of Profectus? Are you guys thinking about getting a bigger space? Or will there ever be two different gyms? Like, what's the future hold?
I don't know about the second location. I don't know that that appeals to either one of us. Possibly. Now that we're able to get all this equipment, I think really it's just the building the business part that's a little bit more difficult because we don't just do obviously the gym business. She does the resell and we do some real estate stuff here and there, but we've tossed around the idea of just expanding the back of the gym. But I mean, we've not discussed it in a while, so I really don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. If you're like, be honest, tell me what you want. Expanding it would be cool. Is that something that I really want? Not really. I kind of like what we have, what we've built, and maybe we can do something somewhere in another state or another city. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think some gyms get too big. Like there's a certain amount of atmosphere that exists in a gym that's not huge. Like I think you get over 15 to 18,000, you get in those like 25, 30,000 square foot gyms and they start losing a little bit of atmosphere. Like I think in that like 12 to 15,000, maybe 18,000, that's like the sweet spot. You can fit everything you want to fit in there perfectly, well spaced, and the atmosphere is still amazing. So, so we talked a lot about what you guys do well. Are there some things, or is there something that you feel like I wish we did this better?
Oh man, from the beginning or like recently?
Recently.
Okay, man, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm 29, Layla's 28. So when we started this whole process, I know like you said recently, we're going back to the beginning, but
I know that's fine.
When we started this whole process, obviously there's no experience. You're young, you know, you kind of still have to build out the space. That we ended up renting the first one and even the second one, and especially the third one. I think there's a lot of things that we would have done differently in regards to how we built out the spaces that we used, how we, the layout, et cetera, et cetera. The thing that's been really hard for us is, and again, this is why I say that it's just like God working in our lives, where it's like everything moved so quickly from the community center to that first studio to the next one to the big gym. And so I think for us, one of the biggest things that got in the way was just the inability to slow it down and communicate when we needed to. So even when we moved into the big space, I can send you some pictures if you want to post them up. But when we moved in there, it was like literally the posts of the building and studs. So there was no build out whatsoever. It was just a warehouse.
Oh, wow.
And in the cheapest and fastest way possible, we hired a couple guys. Instead of doing like drywall, we did OSB on the walls. Like that's something that I'm like, I wish we had like slowed that down and done it differently. Like what's an extra couple $1,000s to make it a little bit nicer, you know? And again, when you're young and you don't have money like that, and you're just trying to make a space that's good for you, right? You're just trying to get it done. So in regards to just making the space nicer, that's definitely something that I'm like, I wish I had taken initiative in trying to slow us down, but I don't know that I could have. And then just, I think allocating more resources to acquiring the right like manager, which I think I've done recently. I think I've got one who's pretty dang good. Right manager, the right front desk staff. Our gym is 24/7. Sometimes I'm like, maybe we should, allocate the money to have someone there at all times. So we're kind of trying that out with a couple people that I hired. We're going to do open hours in the afternoon and see how that goes. Just things like that. Being able to acquire more members. It's not anything crazy. I do wish that we didn't have so many machines in there. That does make it a little bit crowded, and people complain about that sometimes. But
how do you decide which one to take out?
Sir?
I said, how do you decide which one of those cool pieces to take out? That's the challenge.
Ask for feedback, because I've actually done that. That's funny. Like I said, a lot of the people that come in aren't extremely familiar with, an Atlantis press is going to feel better than the Life Fitness vertical press. You know what I mean? It's different, and you understand that. But normal people that we have at our gym don't. And by normal, I mean just regular gym goers. So it would just be things that they don't feel comfortable using, things that they don't necessarily know how to use. That would probably be the way that we would choose that. But just the crowded space is something that I would change if that was something that I could handle, or just being able to throw money at a bigger space. So
yeah, I can imagine it's probably hard when you're acquiring equipment and each piece seems cool to like when you get a chance to grab a cool piece, just say no, we don't have space for it right now. That's probably pretty hard.
And it's crazy. I'm glad you said it that way, because we have a warehouse full of equipment 30 minutes away, and like 10 of our pieces are in there. So like we've got a Paramount pendulum is in there. There's a body.
There is.
Yeah. It's like pristine. And then we have like a Body Masters T-bar, and there's like an Icarian lunge, like an assisted lunge machine. And, we've got like a Body Master, a Nautilus mid-row. Like that one, if that was in the gym, that'd be my number one, because that thing feels amazing. But it's we've got a lot, and we'll just have to figure out what we want to do. There's so many things in that warehouse and in that gym that we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Paramount, because like somebody asked me the other day if I was going to start a gym, do I know what equipment I would want to have in there? I'm like, and that was one of the first pieces I thought of, because I've used almost every pendulum squat there is, and the Paramount's still my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. I love that one.
See, for our people, because we have, like I said, a good mix, the majority being just average Joes, is just with the pendulum, because we have the Atlantis that's in there now.
I like the Atlantis. I like the Arsenal, but the Paramount one just hits different.
It does, and it's so heavy. But like that's the thing. We don't have anybody that can really lift that way, and the people that do are like, the Atlantis is better. So see, just in that way, that kind of helps me with limited space know what I need to take out and bring in, and it's kind of like it's a trophy piece, right? Like you want to have it hanging in your wall, you want to have it in your gym, but it's space, right? So got to do what's best for the business.
No, that's really cool. So one of the things we always ask before we let anybody go, and I appreciate your time today. Is there anything, just having been in business for quite a few years now, is there anything, any sort of advice that you would give to somebody who's thinking about owning a gym?
Yeah, if you have a business partner, regardless of whether it's your spouse or a friend or someone who's just dropping cash into your business, good communication, having a good laid out plan. Like I said, with the whole, I don't think that we've ever just rushed into something. I think that stuff has happened so fast for us that we never took the time to slow down and like really figure out what we were doing, what we wanted. And so we kind of have had to learn the hard way and the fast way, but at the same time, the slow way. So I would just say, knowing what you can spend, knowing the max amount that you can borrow if you're doing that, having a plan in regard to how big you want the gym to go, and even a 5-year plan to understand how much you want it to grow, how big of a space you want to end up having. Because like I said, that I know this sounds weird to some people when they ask, they'll say, like you asked me, or maybe you didn't ask it this way, but they'll ask, did you always want a gym this big? And I'll be like, it kind of just happened. I don't know. Right. I never thought that. I never even dreamed it. And so, like I said, I can't even take credit for getting that far because Layla was the one that's like I said, she's the business person. So yeah, just having, understanding how much you want to spend, having like a 5-year plan, and then kind of work backward from there, have steps, to kind of walk you back up to what it is you're wanting to get to eventually. So, but above all else, I think the communication is just the biggest thing, really understanding what the roles of each person are, understanding what you're going to do for the business, what I'm going to do for the business, and then kind of going from there, figuring that out.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, that is probably super important and can be challenging at times.
It's hard because people are different. They want different things, and if you don't take the time to sit down and really discuss them, then I'm assuming that you're okay with what I want, and you're assuming that you're okay with, or I'm okay with what you want, and we're never on the same page, and we're kind of just going different directions. So eventually, you kind of figure it out and you meet in the middle. But if you can get ahead of that whole thing, you limit the confusion, you limit the amount of money you waste, you limit the amount of time you waste, you limit the headache that you have between the two people. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is just like making sure that you take the time to sit down with each other and really, really, really figure out what it is each person does and what they bring to the table. And then, of course, catering those things to their, I guess, what their best attributes are, right? So if I keep
like understanding each other's strengths and like
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that's important in any relationship, let alone in a business as expensive as a gym can be.
Yeah, in anything, right? That's how it goes, right?
Yeah. So no, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. The gym was awesome. The review should be up before this gets posted. So
awesome. Cool.
So it was awesome. So thank you.
Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for having me on. I actually haven't seen the podcast. Like I told you, I just found out today. So I'll have to watch ours, obviously, and then a couple others, and maybe visit those too. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
All right, boss. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.